What's up, everybody? It's your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog. It's a late night. It's a stormy night. Yes, it's storming out here in Austin like crazy. Now, many of you have messaged me, have called me, hey, I want to start a new business. I want to start a new company. And we're going to talk about that today. And I know it's late, but we're going to talk about it. First, before I start, though, if you guys love the Christmas giveaway, make sure you check the messages and see if you've been the lucky winner. Because a couple of you haven't reached back out to me, and I want to get the books to you. I want to get the courses to you. I want to hook you up. Also, I've got a special discount coming for those of you who love Cousin Nina. We've got a special discount we're working on, but you got to go back to that video with Cousin Nina and put I want blockbusters. So I'll put it in the description, but again, got to go back to that video. I want blockbusters. So if you could, as you're coming in, tell me what city and state you're in, because it's a little late and I'm pretty sure it's going to be mostly West Coasters tonight. So if you didn't hear what I just said, I'm going to say it one more time. We're going to do a special discount for classy climbers to get in the wholesaling, learning the wholesaling business. Definitely what I want you guys to do is go back to the Cousin Nita video, Cousin Nita Buys Houses video, and put I want blockbusters, because that's where we'll give the discount to those who go and click on that video, and we'll email it to you, or we'll basically come up with a way that you'll get that special discount. Because a lot of people are like, $1,000. I'm like, guess what? We're being Santa this year, and we're going to cut it all the way in half. So look, a lot of people message me and email me about moving. Ericka, have you seen the news? Which we do a lot of videos on moving. We just did a series on class. And we'll do more videos on that, but I think it's important for people to kind of get the whole picture. There's a lot of people moving from New York, Pennsylvania, northern states, California. New York's losing like a 500,000 people. California's losing like a 500,000 people a year. Chicago, all these different locations, people are moving and moving around. So you see them coming up in North Carolina, coming up in South Carolina, come up in Georgia, coming up in Texas. And here's what I'm noticing. What I'm seeing out here is a lot of people who've lived in a town their whole life are not making the moves and strides as somebody who's brand new to your town and immersed. And the reason I started bringing up the class thing, the reason I started bringing up opportunities is because I'm meeting people who will move to a new town, go to all the business events, all the Chamber of Commerce events, start picking up and investing in the city. And in 2 years, they're further ahead than people who've lived in that city their whole life. I just see this every time. And part of me, because I'm a military kid and I pay attention when people move from different military towns, but a lot of it is you guys are not getting involved. And I'm not saying to turn your whole life 180 degrees, but you have to start picking up and being invested. Now, some of the things I was saying is a lot of times people move to a new city, they get a new job, they kind of drive around to kind of get that new city feel, what's going on. And then it kind of dies down, right? And they go, well, I kind of want to go back home. Because why? They're not invested. They don't have a community. And I'm a very big thing on having a community. There was something that was said earlier in the video with Kevin Samuels of someone being a lone wolf. But a lone wolf can be in multiple people's groups. Exactly. So as a military kid, sometimes I'd feel on the edge or left out in society, but I would move somewhere and I would get into different groups. And this is a key of being flexible and learning how to talk to people. And some of the biggest things I'm seeing struggle for you guys is you're thinking too small. You're thinking too small and you're being too limited. Right now, I've wrote some ridiculous, crazy ideas on the whiteboard at the private office, not the WeWork office, but the private office here. And I know my worker, when she comes here tomorrow, is going to be like, what is this about? But a lot of the things that I wrote on there are really over the top goals, because if you start reaching for over the top goals, a lot of the things you're talking about will seem small. They'll seem small, right? If you're talking about conferences, if you're talking about events, you're talking about speaking on stages, going to a little happy hour for an hour and speaking to people is not that bad when you're planning on going to lots of conferences. So what I would want for you guys, if you're going to move next year, if you're a person looking to kind of like get deeper into your area, the number one thing I want a lot of you to do is go on Eventbrite. We've been talking about this for several videos, but I think I'm going to have to keep reinforcing that. Go on Eventbrite. Figure out, what are the events coming the next couple of weeks. 2 is go to meetup.com and find some groups that fit your taste. Is it movies? Is it sushi? Is it this? Is it walking groups, hiking groups? And just keep, I don't want to say overfill your calendar because I don't want you to burn out. But if you're brand new to the city and you're not going to do nothing but come home and eat dinner and watch TV anyway, fill at least 3 days of the week with actually stepping out of your house. And that's the number one reason when these people move from California or New York, they're like, I hate it in Texas. I hate it in Florida. North Carolina is so boring. And you go, well, what do you do every afternoon? Well, I can't find anything to do. And that immediately tells me this is a person who's, one, entitled, and two, they're kind of just complaining because they don't want to put in the work to have the life they want. And I was talking with a friend and she's like, you've literally created a job out of no job, right? And I was laughing because we were talking about YouTube and the success of YouTube. And that's just it, right? Dream really big, write up a really big life for yourself next year. And I'm always kind of going on and on about make sure you have your calendar book. Have you guys already bought your calendar book? Because if you haven't, you're already behind for 2019. I've already went through my calendar book and wrote out everything for 2019 already that I know of. Not even the opportunities that people are still talking to me about, but that I know of. And what does it do? It folds my mind to go, this is how much I'm going to be spending on hotels. This is how much I'm going to be spending on this. This is why I'm even in talks with people to buy a condo in New Orleans because of how much time I'm going to spend there. And what happens is some people say, well, Ericka, no, what if there's a recession? What if there's a recession? Your number one focus is your economy. Your number one focus, and I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say, is your economy. How do you improve your economy? Now, some people will say, well, Ericka, I don't have time to go do all this volunteering and showing up at these events. I'm asking you to spend Saturdays or Sundays, 2 Saturdays out of the month or 2 Wednesdays out of the month and go do these events. You really, people get upset with me, but a lot of times what happens is people go to work, they come home, feed the dog, walk to home and sit down, and they never leave back out the house. This is part of why, I was talking to a guy who owns a garage door company. They fix garage doors and the clickers. He said we stay busy year round because people literally go in their house, park, close the door, don't even know what's going on in the front yard. And their number one thing that breaks at their house is their garage door because that's the thing they use the most. And to me, part of that's sad. It's good that you can come home and relax, but the number one thing is your afternoon should be planned out. At least 2-3 times a week, you shouldn't be like, I have nowhere to go and nothing to do. That is poor planning, right? That's really poor planning. And so when people say, Ericka, I can't seem to get new jobs, I can't seem to get new opportunities, you're not talking to enough people. That's really what it is. You're not talking to enough people. You're not going to enough events. And for me, number one is Eventbrite. Number two is Meetup groups. When I first moved to Austin, I went to like 5 a week, but I'm a really big extrovert. So I went to 5 a week. I'm not saying you have to do that. Number 3 is like dancing groups. I joined a 2-stepping group, different dancing groups. Number 4 is I'm going to conferences a lot more this year. And you go to conferences, not just for the information, but for the connections in the room. And I told you guys, when I went to VidCon, just going to Financial Con, and this year I'll be going to VidCon and Vid Summit, the people in that room, you can go from 0 to 100 real fast. I'm going to CPAC this year. There's so many things when you get in a room with people, you're elbows deep in opportunity. You're elbows deep with this. And it's not like a jockeying for who's who. It's just going to the event. And it's almost like if I walk in a room and there's cheese all over the floor, I'm going to get cheese on my shoes. There's going to be some cheese that comes with me when I leave out the door, right? If I go in a room and there's chocolate everywhere and they're like, would you like a piece of chocolate? Would you like a piece of chocolate? And you're like, I just don't know. I don't know. You're eventually going to leave with a piece of chocolate. And these are some of these networking events where you're connected to people who want good people around them, want non-crazy people around them. And a lot of these offices and companies, they pay for people to put on these events. There are whole jobs at Dell and Apple and places where the only job of this person is to put on events to recruit more young people to come to those companies. There's golf classics. You guys will see me this year being at more golf classics. I know you're going to laugh, but I learned golf at my private school, Christian private school in North Carolina. And you're going to see me at more golf events. And so I'm going to be more of a leader in documenting my year where I show y'all kind of what I'm doing, because a lot of people are like, oh, Ericka, that seems so crazy. Why would you do that? But it's going to be more documentation, because I feel like what's happening is people are like, well, Ericka, I took these courses and I tried some things, but I'm having a disconnect, right? I think Glenn and Cameron did a video today talking about people close for sales. And the thing about sales is it's consistent, right? No one wants to be salesy, but let's be honest. Grant Cardone's book is really great example of sell or be sold, Every day when you put on clothes and you go to your job, you're selling yourself on the ideal that you have to do that. Every day you're married to your wife or your husband, you're convincing yourself that this person, I love this person, and this is why I do these things, and this is why I'm with them. You are convincing yourself every day. So when you tell me, Ericka, I'm not having a lot of sales, I'm not meeting new people, I'm going to say, what are you selling yourself on daily? You know, and your vision has to sell you. And what does that mean? What does that mean? When I write out what I'm going to do for next year, you got to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Where am I trying to go? What am I trying to accomplish? And here's what's going to happen. Next year, people are going to be like, oh my God, it's a recession, Ericka. We got to conserve, conserve, conserve. And they're going to shrink down and become a hermit and don't spend any money and don't go anywhere. And they're going to have a rotten year. And I can tell you right now, I had a friend who used to love watching Glenn Beck and a couple other people and Ron Paul. And he said, you know what? If I actually took those 3 years where I was like stacking up and prepping and doing all that and actually buying a bunch of real estate like I'm doing now, I'd be further along. And I never said, well, wow, lesson learned, because you have to get so wrapped around your economy. You have to get good information in for sure, but you have to be wrapped around what is your economy? What is your year going to look like? And when I did the video, a couple of videos, people have been kind of pissed with me because I keep saying to make 100,000 a year is not that big of a deal. And people are like, bump you, Ericka. How dare you? You're being an elitist. You're being a jerk. And I keep telling them, if you go on LinkedIn and you go and actually look at some people's categories and titles, and then you go on Glassdoor and Google that job, there's a lot of people out here making 80 to 100,000. And when I say, 1 in 5 households make that, but also there's a top 20% that make that. And people say, well, there's not that many jobs. Well, you need to find out if that job fits you. I was talking on the show, Kevin's show earlier, that here in Austin, Texas, ACC Community College is trying, yeah, Indeed is here, trying so hard. They're giving away free network administrator certificates and free a couple other certificates. These are all tech-based. So when I meet young African-American or Hispanic or whoever in a restaurant or somewhere, they say, I just can't get into these tech jobs. I go, have you got a certificate? Have you did this? Well, I have to pay out of pocket. I got student loans. And every time it's an excuse, instead of saying, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make payment plans, because community college lets you make payment plans on a course. And then if you flip the script, these are free courses. These are free courses, free certificates, because they're trying to keep the program alive. And they're trying to supply the needs of the local companies. The local companies come to the community colleges here and hire people. And so when you hear people say, well, I just keep being stuck at 30,000 a year or 40,000 a year, some of this is your choice. Some of this is lack of knowledge. But at any time, I want people to go on Indeed.com, look up your city and state, go on LinkedIn, look up people in your city and state. This is really impactful to your life. And some of you are like, what am I doing up so late? It's literally only 11:50 in Texas right now. Right now, for some of my East Coast people, you probably should be in bed. But for me, I'm just finishing out a day of work and different events. So we got a troll coming through. Don't worry. We're going to get you out of here. Anyway, so, that's the thing. You have to decide, what is this year going to look like? Kristen Alexander, I may have to move to Austin. You trust me, listen, the best thing y'all could do is go look up an article from 2 years ago. It's called the Forbes 16 Boom Towns. And some of them towns might be near you, but keep this in mind. When you see Forbes put an article about 16 boom towns, I can tell you every boom town I saw, I knew those towns were booming years ago, 5-10 years ago. And that's why by the time you get it in the news, you're already late, right? You're already late. But what I'm telling you is you can go into that town and still break through and increase your economy. I always share about when I first moved to Austin, there were people at the church I went to who were like, oh, do you need a job? Come on over here. That's like a 70,000 a year job they were offering me. Then I went to United Way for an event. The lady's like, hey, come on over here. Yeah, you need a job? And what people don't understand is people are always looking for good people. And people say, well, Ericka, I don't have time to volunteer. I'm busy with these bills. You need to make time. You've made time for your life to be that stressful. And when you really break it down, a lot of times people have a car or a apartment or something that has put them in a financial distress situation. Your thinking got you there. Now you need new thinking to get you out of there. So Cal Phillips, the South is filled with industrial jobs. Well, even if you like, I think you need to double check on Indeed.com, because it's not even just industrial as much as it is. There's a lot of technical companies out here where a lot of the pharmaceutical companies are even down in North Carolina and South Carolina where they're making medicine, and you're like, oh, that's a factory work. Not really. My cousin goes there and button up in slacks, puts on a white lab coat, and he's technically a mechanical engineer. So I mean, it just depends. There's a ton of tech, and what people don't understand. This is how people are so short sighted. Several headquarter corporations have moved. They're leaving tech. They're leaving California by the droves. Okay, North Carolina got 1,000 new companies in Charlotte, 1,000 companies in Raleigh. Chattanooga, Tennessee is getting 1,000 tech companies. Alpharetta and Marietta, Georgia is getting all these companies. And what people don't understand is these tech companies are leaving these high tax states, but they're still willing to pay really high incomes. If you're making 85,000 a year in Alpharetta, Georgia, you're going to get a big old house, 3-bedroom house. You're getting a nice area and a nice house and able to sustain your lifestyle. And that's why people are moving. But also, while you're in those positions, creating a community will help you. A lot of times people move somewhere and they don't understand what's happened. Why am I struggling with meeting people, struggling with connecting? It is truly a lack of you going out and checking things. Feta, he said, network administrators make good money for an easy job. I'm telling you, they're giving out the certificate for absolutely free. Cal Phillips, from the cleaning lady to engineering. I've seen it happen. There's a lot of stories. You're right, Ericka. My cousin moved from Cali to Reno. Listen, you have 200,000 people moving to Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm not knocking Phoenix, Arizona, but I've been and I'm like, it's just the cost of living. They're getting out of California in droves. And so California always try to pretend like, oh, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. What are you talking about? People love California. And I go, but look how many people are leaving. Yes, there's people staying and fighting the tax man, and no, everybody shouldn't abandon their state, but you have to put yourself in a financial position to win. And I've seen this multiple times when I was in apartment and management. People would be like, yeah, I'm moving back to Kentucky. I'm moving back to this place. And I go, why? Oh man, I got here. I made a lot of money and realized I can take this money and go home. And that's the funny part, right? Like the new environment or the new money gave them a mindset or opportunity. This is a prime example. When I was at East Carolina, kids would be like, I'm out of North Carolina. Peace out. I'm going back to Virginia or DC. And what would happen is they would go to DC, and guess what they would do? They literally have a job that made them 90,000 or 100,000 a year. And then they would go, oh man, I hate this traffic. I hate all this. So for 2 years or 1 year and a half, they've been making this really high income. They go be pre-approved for a mortgage, have a letter, a job offer, being able to sit them to another city, and would bounce and would come back to Raleigh. So Maroon Beauty, please leave Cali. It takes me an hour to go 12 miles and work. Listen, in parts of Maryland, when I was there for my mom, taking her to the hospital in Bethesda, Maryland, it was 7 miles. It took an hour and almost an hour and a half. Okay, got you. Cal Phillips says, what I mean is cleaning lady to engineering jobs was refineries employees, those range of jobs in one facility. Brandon Scales, I'm leaving New Orleans for Charlotte. Less taxes and cheaper. I'm telling you, cost of living. Yeah. Only takes 5 minutes to get to work. When is FidTech again? So FidCon is going to be in Washington, D.C. this year. It's going to be, we have a lot of trolls tonight for whatever reason. Anyway, it's going to be in Washington, D.C. September 4th through 7th. Then you have VidCon that's coming up this summer. You have the Marijuana Investment Conference is going to be in New Orleans in July. You have so many different opportunities popping up that I'm telling you, New Orleans is higher than it needs to be. Well, Cal Phillips, I think the thing about New Orleans is they've been pouring all this money into it, and they think they wanted a certain demographic to move back. They didn't want everybody to move back. They wanted a certain demographic to move back. But what you learn about New Orleans is if you don't have the original people, you lose a lot of the flavor. So VidCon is from VidCon, video conference. There's a couple of different conferences I'm going to, but I haven't purchased all of them yet. But I think I'm going to come up with like a PDF of these are all the places I'm going to be this year, and these are the reasons why. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think that's probably the best way to do it. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm watching you live. I've been binging on your videos for the past 3 days. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Also, check out the Midwest. Metro Kansas City is affordable and not overcrowded. Good pay, lower cost of living. Atlanta, Dallas, Charlotte, and Houston are becoming crowded and costly. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I would say Houston's been crowded for a while. Um, uh, have they've been crowded for a while now, but there's still a lot of opportunity there. And also, what you're going to see next year in 2019 and 2020 is a lot more companies trying to offer remote location home working, right? Because even Dell, for a long time, Dell was giving people like $7,000 to set up their home office. Well, what would happen is some guys would buy certain computers, but they realize I'm so bored at home, right? Or it's isolating at home, so they would still go to Dell 2-3 times a week, which is true. uh and I would recommend, like, even the WeWork. When I go to the WeWork building, I think 90% of the people are there just so they're, one, out of their house, and two, around other people. Yes, I'm in Atlanta. It's overpopulated. Christian Alexander, basically his question was, do I think it's smart to move to another state so you can set yourself up financially? Well, a lot of people do that anyway. I'm here in Texas, and a lot of people, they're from Arkansas, they're from Louisiana, they're from what's the other state, that the other side, Kansas. There's a lot of people from Kansas here. There's a lot of people from Ohio. Now, here's the thing: nobody retires and goes back north. You dig what I'm saying? Like, nobody does that. They always retire south because of the cost of living. But a lot of people here, what they've done is they literally make really great money and they go back home and buy a rental or two. Or they go, like this one guy I know, he's in Arkansas, and he bought a acre, it's like 2-3 acres of land, and he's going to build his retirement home for him and his wife and his kids. And everybody's like, oh, that's so crazy. Why are you doing that? But that's what people do. People do it all the time. They move. There's a couple here. They're from North Carolina, and they still have a huge house back in North Carolina. Her husband's making like 250,000 a year here in Texas, so they're here in Texas. But every summer, they go and spend the summers, because it's extremely hot in Texas, in North Carolina. Now, it's hot in North Carolina too, but different type of hot. So what they'll do is, for July, right before school starts, when it's really the hottest, they literally bounce and stay in North Carolina, and they're connected to their town. They talk to people. They go hang out and have a great time, and that's what people do. So you can do that. You can move for a year or two or 5 years, and the thing about it is, what I'm talking about, you can take this technique and still go back home. So you can still take it and go back home and get plugged in. Cameron Talks, thank you for the super chat, $20 super chat. Woo! Hey, Ericka, great show like always. I might need to leave Miami and go to a boring and dry city. Nah. Well, here's the thing. You have to make the numbers work for you. It's not just about lowering your cost of living is something most people can do. Why? Because of where they're living. People immediately go, what can I cut in my budget? And usually it's housing. And so that's why so many people move. I would say your car is the number one thing you can cut. If you can go get you a 5-year-old Camry, Toyota Camry, that can be paid off like that or don't cost you a lot, it's a way better way to do it. Because what people don't understand is people get obsessed with cars. There's an obsession as Americans with cars and leasing that we're paying. Like, I've done this scenario multiple times. Car payment's $350, right? We're doing the low end. The average car payment in America is $500, but we're going to do the low end, $350. Then you're talking about insurance on a brand new car with a note still attached to it, closer to $200. It really is. Some people say, no, my insurance is way lower than that. I'm just saying the national standard is closer to 200. So now you're at 500. Okay. Then you're talking about gas, oil changes, all that good stuff, about $200 in gas a month. Now, for some of you driving trucks, I know it's $300-$400. Trust, I know. When it's $50 and $60 and $70 every time to fill up your gas tank, and a lot of you are still commuting, trust me, I know you're spending more than $200 on gas. Then you're talking about any other issues that you could come with your car, tires, anything. You're spending on average $800 a month on that car. Now, let's even flip it for the guys or girls who have the brand new Jeep Cherokee, brand new Dodge Rams, brand new Ford, the big Ford F-150 trucks. You're talking about someone spending $800 to $1,000 a month on their car. Then you're talking about a married spouse that wears two brand new cars. I've seen it. I've done too much credit repair to tell you it is the car. 90% of the time people will try to get in the smaller, cheaper house, but it is that car. Those cars are eating up people. The reason you see Jermaine Ellis and some of these YouTubers able to travel the world for a month or 2 or 3 months at a time is because they have no car, and some of them even have even like either no apartment or their roommate situation in houses. So again, if you, the whole show, somebody asked me what the show's about. The whole show is I wanted to make sure you guys knew if you have been following the 12 days of Christmas, go check and see if you won, because I've messaged some of y'all and haven't got an email back yet. So I really want to get you your gifts. Part 2 is if you really love Cousin Nita Buys Houses, go under her video where I put Cousin Nita Buys Houses and put I want Blockbusters. I'm having her give a really special discount, almost like 70% off almost, on her course to people who really want that course, because a lot of you have been reaching out to her and I just want to make it fair. So Rita Smarts, keep my paying off 11-year-old SUV for sure. I got 2,470 miles on it. Gift for my grandma. I got a 4-year-old Camry. A lot of celebrities live in Wyoming. Yeah. But essentially, you know, what the topic of mostly tonight is like when you move, getting involved and invested in a community. How do people do that? How do people get all these opportunities? And I was mentioning Glenn and Cameron talking about people have lack of sales, and I go, it's not even just lack of sales; it's lack of skills, life skills. Because here's the thing: when I talk about moving to a new city or new town, number 1, Eventbrite, see what's going on in your area. Number 2, meetupgroups.com. Number 3, dancing groups. This is for me. I just love dancing. Number 4, conferences, right? Conferences in your city and then conferences outside your city. Because sometimes when you go to these outside conferences, you meet people who are like, oh, you're in Austin? Let me tell you about blah, 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 right? Number 5, I'm doing this year golf classics. I'm going to be going do some charity golf events and some different type of charity events. But there's a lot of opportunities to, you know, between the Urban League, between the Chamber of Commerce events, you know, there's so many opportunities where people say, well, Ericka, I don't want to volunteer. You know, my time is busy. I'm busy. I'm not asking you to spend every day of the week volunteering. I'm just saying once or twice a month, make your face be known in those events. It's a whole different world. How do I find all these good websites? Honestly, conferences. Honestly, research, reading. A lot of times you'll see article after article saying, hey, a lot of people are going over here. And what happens is people go, I never knew about that. And I go, I can tell you don't what you're reading. If you're spending, and I'm being careful, if you're on Facebook and you know all the gossip, all the Kardashians' life, all the stuff that honestly, you know, everybody needs a little bit of entertainment. But if you have a master's degree in knowing what's going on in Cardi B's life and not a master's degree in your own life, that's a problem. That's a problem. It's a very big problem. So my buddy bought a Cadillac Escalade. It's a little over $1,000 to register it. Is it too late in 2019 to use your technique for getting business and personal credit with a brand new business and family piggybacking to boost your credit score? Andre, we're not even talking about that tonight. We're really not. Because there's a whole other credit videos we can do. It's not too late, but I'm just not even going to go into that. That's a whole nother. If you want a super chat, maybe I'll talk about it, but like that's a whole nother can of worms. I'm going to a healthcare conference next year. Yeah, we spend too much time on entertainment. Yeah. What's up from Germany? I just wanted to get that. I just want to do that part because what happens is a lot of people say, well, Ericka, how are you meeting all these people? How are you connecting? How are you getting more sales? And it's a lot of it's a combination. I did the video yesterday talking about Google AdWords and setting up your business right. That's one half of it. But the other half is this networking. There are other people trying to sell me clients through their business. They're trying to sell me their credit repair business. They're like, because they're at a point. Every company gets to a point. Either you're going to invest more into your business and grow it, get employees, do all that, or you're gonna go, I'm just gonna stay here and coast. Which coasting, your company's either growing or dying. Coasting, you can do that for many years. I know there's several people there's a couple stay-at-home moms I know. They have a side business that they literally sell just enough, 100,000 every year, just enough on Etsy, just enough in this, and they do sales. They have email lists. They do just enough, not too much more. You know what I mean? So again, if you want that Anita course, you need to go over there and put I want Blockbusters. And that would let us put underneath it, hey, here's where you go get the discount. So what other things you have? Why did you move to Austin instead of Atlanta, Houston, or stay in Carolina? So I am Roberts. What had happened was I broke off an engagement in North Carolina. So I wanted to get as far away from North Carolina as possible. So a sales company opportunity opened up in Austin. So that's what happened. Originally, I was in Killeen for 6 months, and then I was like, ugh, and then I went to Austin. So but at the end of the day, I'm a big believer. There's a book called Rooted, and it's kind of Christian based, so that might not be for everybody. But essentially, it talks about rooting where you are. And a lot of people are so busy going, "Oh, I wish I was back in North Carolina," or always spending every weekend there. They don't have enough energy to root where they are, right? They don't have enough energy to root where they're located, right? Because they're using all their energy to do what? Go back home, focus on being back home. They don't have any energy. So, sorry, our German fellows. I don't know what's going on, so I'm going to just hide you from the channel. Thank you so much, though. Let's see what else we got. I love your grind, be even on the holidays. Well, here's the thing. What people don't understand is when you see Gary Vee and you see a lot of these people, he can take all this time off. Like, I don't think people realize this, but Gary Vee takes a solid 6 weeks off where he takes his wife and kids kind of on vacations, like they do beach, and then they do a little bit around the country, around the United States, right? Like they go to Italy and somewhere else. But people don't know that because all you see is him grinding, grinding, grinding. So there's times where I'm taking 2-3 weeks off and I'm hanging in North Carolina or I'm hanging in other places, but it's because I'm willing to chuck some of these days, right? Now, if I had little 2-3-year-old babies, I wouldn't be chucking Christmas. But I think a lot of people are so tapped into like, I need vacation and I deserve to veg out all afternoon. And so this is where people get in these locations where somebody said, oh, Kevin said it. He was talking about a lot of these guys aren't hermits. A lot of these guys aren't introverts. They just leave work and have nowhere to go. And that's the truth, right? A lot of times, if you look back in our society, a lot of times you had a wife or a girlfriend that brought you to different events, right? But I am seeing more men who make their own schedule. They make their own schedule and they take themselves to several events all year long. Golf classics, volunteering. There's several guys I know who teach little football leagues because that's what they do with their afternoons. And so a lot of you have to really examine what are you doing with your afternoon. So yeah, thanks, Greek Surgeon. There's 140 of y'all in here. Let's get the likes up. Let's pump it up. Because it's a late, but I'm just trying to like give y'all good stuff. So if you guys have any more questions, super chat and let me know. But yeah, the thing about what people don't understand is you can move to multiple different states. Ian Roberts, I'm trying to kill your name, but you just need to get invested, right? Because I've seen people do this. They'll come to Austin. Oh, I didn't like Austin. Then they move to Nashville. Oh, I didn't like Nashville. Then they move to Colorado. And we had a friend, he was here in Austin, but he was so comfortable in Austin. He got to Colorado, immediately got married like the next year. And everybody's like, whoa, what happened, dude? He's like, I just started digging into community. I started going to events. I started doing stuff. So the last 10 years I gave up on Christmas. It's for kids. And I got fed up with the ex calling me around Christmas. Dang. Omega dreads. Sorry. So that's funny. Well, here's the thing. What's funny is people are complaining about Christmas, but if you see a lot of these wealthy business owners, they're still doing Christmas. They're still giving their kids stuff. They're still going on about their day. Now, what I really like about several people I've been following on Instagram is they don't even do Christmas. They take their kids on vacation. That is Christmas, a vacation. And so that's what I'm hoping more in my future is like the kids know, hey, we're going to this cabin or we're going snowboarding, and that's our vacation. That's our Christmas. Well, that's a good book. Thank you, Nita, for sharing that. What's the name of that book again? Let me see. Success Runs in Our Race. Let's see. We'll go check that out on Amazon. Ian. Sorry, Ian. I apologize. And I don't have my glasses on, so I'm like, yeah. So, but yeah, there's another book. Gosh, what is it called? Man, I can't. There's just so many I could think of, but there's one where a guy was the 10th son of 12 kids, and it was like it was basically the book was like you got to get out there because you'll get overlooked and overran or whatever. So, giving my son the experience. Ah, Oh yeah, Cal Phillips. It can be, and Christmas still can be whatever you want. If you don't want to celebrate, you don't have to. Now, again, I told you guys in my Christmas video, my father died on Christmas Day when I was in college. So for me, there were several years we didn't celebrate Christmas after that. So now we're on a better level. Lots of healing. But at the time, it was like, okay, now this day sucks. But now it's like, oh, well, your parent wouldn't want you to live that way. This day is another day to be used, to be utilized, to live it to your best. Look at Ericka, 16,000 subscribers. Congrats. Thank you so much. Yeah, it is tough. It was tough. Giant Lifestyle, $2 super chat. Thank you. Thank you for supporting the channel. So, moving to Charlotte within a year, it's a good idea to go to several Chamber of Commerce events over there ever so often. Yeah, because here's the thing. Like, if I can pull this up, there's a, let me see if I can pull it up. It's called like Pigs and Barbecue or something. Let me see if I can pull it up. I'm going to give you an example of different events. Blues and Brews, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Okay, there you go. So there's a thing called Blues and Brews, and this is an example of what I'm talking about. It's a music event. Can you guys see that? Getting closer, getting further. Right here. Nope. Anyway, sorry guys, it's not gonna zoom in, but it's Blues and Brews, and it started in 2003, and it's a music event. It's only one day, and the funny thing is, all proceeds go to the Cape Fear Regional Conference. Things like this come from, and being really honest, things like this come from city council and Chamber of Commerce, where they're calling up all these breweries. Hey, you guys, can you come do this? Can you come over here and put this together, event together? Now, even though I don't live in Fayetteville anymore, there's some years I volunteer. I get the T-shirt. I talk to who's who in town, and I can tell you what happened. Like, I can tell you right now. There's a guy who came to Fayetteville he went to the military, got out of Fort Bragg. He's originally from Florida. You know what he did? He got into Fayetteville. He started volunteering at events. He opened up a business. He started being on the Chamber of Commerce. Then he married the town's daughter, the guy who has one of the biggest car dealerships ever. His daughter and her sister are like into pharmaceuticals. Like they're pharmaceutical sellers, and they make stack on stacks, right? So then she puts on events. Well, then he married her, and then he ran for city council, failed, then ran again, got on it. Then he ran for mayor, failed. Then he ran for senator. He just kept running, right? Got bigger and bigger. This is the prime example of what I'm talking about. I'm not saying you have to be uber ambitious or do take over, but little events like this where people volunteer, like even here in Austin, there's festivals I volunteer at, not because I want to get a free ticket to the festival. That is part of it, but also because you get to meet the people behind the scenes. You're not just showing up to something. You're meeting the people behind the scenes. South by Southwest is like that. ACL is like that. So many events are like that where you actually get to meet the people behind the scenes. So smaller towns, this totally works better. Charlotte, surrounding small towns around Charlotte, this works better. There's so many different things where this works so much better. So, but I was just trying to give you examples of Chamber of Commerce events. Like there's one Chamber of Commerce events in Fayetteville that's literally crawfish and something. And literally you just have judges and lawyers and local who know who sitting here eating crawfish together with their sleeves rolled up. And it's a great event. And that's what people miss. So people really miss those things. I'm trying to stay on topic with moving and conferences. So if you guys have other questions, unless you're super chatting, or just save it for another show so we can kind of stay congruent. My City, $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Do not despise the small beginnings, for sure. Crawfish in the Carolinas. There's a couple different ones. Well, they usually do shrimp. They usually do shrimp bowls, low country bowls. So here's the difference. Texas, Louisiana, you're going to have crawfish. You're going to have sausage, corn, potato, right? North Carolina, South Carolina, not always, but you're usually going to have shrimp. You're going to have sausage, potato, corn, but it's usually just the seasoning's a little bit different. That's all. Because I'll go to events here and they're just going through crawfish and I'm like, ugh, I'm not a crawfish girl. I'm from the Carolinas. Where's the shrimp, right? And so they'll be looking at me like, you don't want to do crawfish? I'm like, nah. So, what's up, Mickey Mabel? Okay, let's see. Bobby Renee, I'm not answering that question. I already said no. not going to answer it. That's it. Like, go to Google. I'm not answering it. So I'm not trying to be a jerk to you guys, but when the topic's on this, let's stay on the topic, right? And when there's real estate shows, if you really have a question that you need to answer so bad for me, it's called a consult. You can, at any given time, like, here's the problem with YouTube. I come on here and I give free time and free conversation and free information, right? And it's almost like people saying, well, you know what? I don't want that, Ericka. I want this. I don't care what you want. And the internet doesn't care what you want. If you really want it bad enough, you'll buy a consult, or you'll go Google it, or you'll go talk to a real estate attorney, correct? Am I right or am I wrong? Put a 1 in the super chat if you think I'm giving a lot of good information on the YouTube. Put a 1 in the super chat. Put a 1 in the comment section, because I think I go above and beyond giving good information. So it's almost like a little bit entitled for you guys to come on here and be like, well, you need to answer my question. Actually, I don't. Like, I choose the questions I want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think it's part two because I'm a woman. I think a lot of men channels get a little bit more respect than I get, and that's okay. That's society. But like, you don't get to dictate what somebody gets to answer to you. I think you guys are missing that part. $4.99 Phillips, thank you for the super chat. Running for office can be one of the most lucrative positions in field. Yeah. Oh, for sure. There's a guy in Fayetteville right now who everybody wants him to get out and step down. It's not the first black guy you're talking about. That's another black guy, because I know somebody's gonna go Google when I finish this show. And he's been running so long that he's in his 50s now. He's like, what else am I gonna go do? And I was like, well, sir, you can go do anything. You can go get a sales job. You can go move to Raleigh. You can move to Charlotte. You can go do other things. And that's the thing with politics. It's sometimes it's a trap and sometimes it's not. Like, if you start young and you're consulting for different campaigns, again, I did a whole video talking about when you move to a city, if you really want to get plugged in, go join a campaign, because you see who's making decisions in a city. So. Better value my time. Listen, here's the funny thing. It's not even being a smartass. It's the fact that I literally have talked to not 1, not 2, but 5 consulting firms here in Austin trying to figure out who could do my ads for me, because I didn't want to spend all that time. And they're literally like, you could quit doing videos. You have more than enough videos. We literally could just run ads on 10 of your videos and you never do another video and you just make money. But I value the impact this is making. I can tell this is making changes in your life. And I'm getting people who can partner with me. I've had people in Colleen who try to buy a house with me. There's just several things I know this works, and I know this is giving value. So it's like, respect the platform, right? If I said I didn't answer it the first time, I haven't answered it 3, 4, 5 times, there's a reason I'm not answering it. Either it doesn't flow with the show, or it's not what I want to talk about. You know, like, I'm not your human Google. Go Google on your own. Thank you, Brandon Scales, for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that. Make sure y'all hit the like button. It's 148 people. Some people are just cheap. Yeah, some people are cheap, and I get that. People are cheap and they don't get it. And this is part of why I do this, because it's not even just y'all. There's 17, 20, 21, 22-year-old kids watching these videos. Now, I see the numbers, graphics, a lot of you are in your 30s to 50s and stuff like that, and that's cool too. I really like that. Late 20s to 50. And what's even better about that is, like, I'm giving you this knowledge for free. If I see you at FidCon coming up this year, or VidCon, come up to me, speak, whatever. Like, this is even better. And the problem is, when you try to reach back and pull people up with you, or try to give them insight on something like, hey, come on over here, come see this, people don't respect it. So, Greek sir, you have to pay full price so you don't have to pay later. Yeah. Cal said, what's even cheaper is the like button. The like button is absolutely free. As O'Shea says, Jesus paid it all. All you got to do is hit the like button for free. Mickey, greatly appreciate your content, raw and uncut. Yeah, I mean, I really, I just go over and over different types of things. What's up, Dennison Construction Services? Up late. Listen, we tried to get Dennison Construction Services on the channel so y'all can see her book, but we'll book her sometime soon. I know coming up on the lineup so far is Terry, that investment stocks with Terry, is going to come back on, and a couple other people are coming back on because it's valuable content out here, you guys. It's really valuable content out here. There's people out here doing it. And I was talking on a show and I was saying people act like making 100,000 a year is just so hard. And I go, you just don't know enough people. You really don't. Like, there was a girl came on Jason Black's show and she was all like, oh, I don't know any black men making good money unless they're doing drugs or something illegal. That immediately told me where she was living and her mindset. She's probably living somewhere that's not high income, because whatever you see more of, right? If I sit here and tell you, Ericka, hey, you guys, there's all these black men over here that do tech in this area. You got to look for them. Now you're going to come over here to Austin, and that's all you're going to see. You're going to see black men in tech all over because your eyes focus. It's the same thing with cars. If you buy a red Ford Fiesta, now every time you drive around town, that's all you're going to see is other Ford Fiestas and other red Ford Fiestas. Same thing. Like, I want to buy the Tacoma, right? A tan desert color Tacoma with a certain type of wheels. Now everywhere I go, I see tan Tacomas. It's all about focus. So when we're talking about moving, when we're talking about business, when we're talking about credit, getting yourself information, as Beyonce says, get information. Like meetups, Eventbrite, conferences, golf classics, volunteering, United Way, Key Club, Kiwanis, all these different places you could go and be impactful. It's just like, I'm giving you free game. I'm trying to show you how to break up and get into these things. It's really life changing. JJ the Boys, this podcast is great for me to get to work. I get educated and informed on investing and financial strategies. Thank you so much. Uncle Laundress, I don't have my glasses on, you guys. Sorry. I love your positive injury. By far the best YouTube channel information. Your time is greatly valued. Appreciate it. I thank you. Thank you for that. You give a lot of info. I take notes. I'm telling you, like, at some point this is going to come to an end too. I mean, there's a lot of changes happening in YouTube world anyway, but next year it's going to be freaking 10x. It's like literally 10x. As far as conferences, as far as real estate, as far as like, I even want to do a little mini rehab show in Detroit. We'll see if that gets actually put through in February, March, probably more like April. Let's be honest, when it's warm. I ain't trying to go to Detroit when it's cold. But that's just it. People are absolutely missing the opportunities out here. Like they're throwing opportunities out the window. Like, I made a joke about the political. If you want to move to a new town and get in deep, get political, right? Most people hate politics. I know that. What I've seen happen is I have friends who are political consultants, and they've just bounced campaign to campaign, and literally they show up, volunteer, get a job paying $3,000, and then someone connects them to an apartment complex that's going to hook them up for lower rent. Then on top of that, they're meeting elbows deep with who knows who. And so either they finish with the campaign or go to another campaign, or they actually just switch jobs completely. I've seen people go in a campaign, volunteer, then be on paid staff, then switch over to a sales job with pharmaceuticals or some other thing. And I'm like, how'd you do that? Oh, girl, somebody offered me a job. I mean, it really is just like that. People really have to open the doors of their eyes. For real. They just do. And I think in the next 10 years, you're going to see a lot of the top 20%, Black people, top 20%, Hispanic people, even here in Texas, a lot of people shifting and doing group things. Look at Todd Capital, look at Black Seed Fund, look at a lot of these people you see partnering together. They're partnering together. So when you're going to come to a new city and you're like, nah, man, I'm going to be a lone wolf, I'm going to do my own thing, I'm like, you're missing out on the bulk of the opportunity. So a lot of other people in a lot of other communities partner for a reason. So, man, I can't even wear Tim boots. I mean, I remember one time I was a kid and some family member bought me and my sister Tim boots. I literally wouldn't wear them. They weren't my style. And plus, listen, I'm snobbish. They just weren't my style. I wore Keds and gladly got picked on. It's also what you expect to see. Sadly, many in society only see Black men. Yeah. And that's why when I was listening to Jason Black, I was hearing these people, and it's almost, you can't be a victim and a victor at the same time. You cannot, and people love these struggle stories like, I came from the bottom, I got it from the mud. And let's be really honest, like 50% of Black people live in 52% actually live in rural areas or the suburbs. So some of y'all is lying. You didn't get it out the mud. You weren't in this inner city. You weren't struggling. You're living in the suburbs of Atlanta in a nice house, in a nice neighborhood with food over your roof over your head and food in your belly, and trying to pretend this struggle story. Stop it immediately. It's ridiculous. Yeah, somebody said join the Facebook group. I'm telling you right now, in the Facebook group, we have people partnering together to buy a truck, partnering together to do activities, Salesforce study group, really trying to get their life changed. And I think I don't want y'all to miss the boat on all this opportunity out here. I share every video live with almost 10 friends here and abroad. Nothing but good compliments from all of them. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Jeff Turner. I appreciate that. One man's floor is another man's ceiling. Exactly. think I missed something in the beginning. Hold on, let me go back up because I was so busy deleting. We had a lot of trolls in here. What's up? A lot of Maryland in the building tonight. What's good? New Orleans. Anyway, so yeah, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to make sure I keep it. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here, but I'm gonna try to show all the conferences and different things I'm going to this year because I think people are missing out. Honestly, I'll just say that I think they're missing out. So, and it's not always college, right? It's some of this is just certificates. The Facebook group is Classy Climb Accountability Group, but you have to get the subscription. It's a paid Facebook group. It's not a free Facebook group, and there's a reason for that. Because if it was free, it'd be 30,000 people in there just talking and sharing memes and silly stuff. Because it's a paid $10 a month, which is like nothing. There's people with Facebook groups paying $50 a month. When you have this smaller group of people, you can actually vet people. You can actually check people's backgrounds and then actually do business with them. So that's the difference. So anyway, so all right, you guys, look. I'll put a few links in the chat here real quick. But other than that, any other questions, last minute questions on moving to new cities and trying to get opportunities, put them in there. Where is it? Oh, sorry. I'm trying to find the private Facebook group so I can put it in the comments for y'all. But yeah, also, if you want Nina's course, go to Cousin Nina Buys Houses video and put, I want Blockbusters. We're trying to get her to give us a big, like 70% off deal. So in order for us to do that, got to show that we want it. So if anybody in there who wants it, that's the video I want y'all to go back to. So there's the link to the Friday Facebook group if y'all want to join that. That's up to y'all. But overall, just keep up with the channel. We'll bring good content here. This year is going to be super awesome. I'm super excited. But yeah, if you guys plan on doing any moving, you got to realize if you're going to move to any new city, you're going to have to put about 2 years work in. Because so many people kept asking me, why don't you move back to Charlotte or Nashville? And I'm like, do you realize how much work you'd have to put in? Like, and I kind of want to do a breakdown of the traveling CEO more in another video, but that's going to be part of my strategy next year. So. Thank you, Carmel. Talker 305. LeBron should have said, I'm getting Ericka Williams money. Hey, man, y'all better get out here. It's not even about just getting the money. It's being able to live where you want to live and take your family on trips you want to. And I've told you guys about this. Our family, since I've been 12 years old, our family's been going on Carnival cruises, 20, 30, 40 people deep every year, the week after Thanksgiving in a group. And to this day, I'll have white people go, what? How? Are they all teachers? Are they all this? I'm like, no, we have all kind of people in our family. We've just made it a tradition and a tax write-off. I mean, like, it just is what it is, right? Like, we go so much, we see the same people from Fayetteville and this couple from Florida. We see them every year. That's how much we've been going. It's hilarious. So I think you guys get that. So look, hope you're loving the channel, appreciating the channel. Definitely hit the like button before you leave. But I'm going to wrap this up. We've been here an hour. Again, don't be afraid to move. But also don't be afraid to get in the community. Don't be afraid to get in the community, you know? You have to be able to, you can't want to be number one. You can't be want to make $250,000 a year and not know anybody. This whole ideal you're going to come on YouTube or you're going to go do stuff on the internet and you're going to make millions of dollars all by yourself. This is something people have kind of, they've warped this ideal. So. Jeff Turner, I've talked a lot about being a military kid and moving. I mean, like, it would be like, I might do one video about military people if they move, what to do, but I've talked a ton about being a military kid and people moving and veterans benefits and veteran benefits in Texas. I've done a ton of that over the years, so. So anyway, you guys, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Trey Johnson. But look, you guys, this is Ericka from the Classy Climb blog. I was going to hold my book up, but author of the Smartphone Millionaire book. You can grab that on Amazon or on the website. I look forward to seeing some of you guys here on the internets. Make sure you hit the like button and definitely check out our show tomorrow and the rest of the week. So everybody have a great night.